Hi there, Scott Stork with Polaris Law Group, estate planning and probate attorneys in St. Charles, Missouri. Well, here's a question that we get a lot. My loved one has passed away. Do I have to pay their creditors? So before I get started with that, I want to remind you that you can subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you don't miss any of our videos. If you have questions, call our office at 636-757-3850 or visit our website at polarisplans.com. So we do a lot of probate work here at Polaris Law Group, and one of the big questions that everybody has when that happens is, my mom and dad, my loved one, someone has passed away. I'm now getting calls from their creditors, from the credit card company, from the hospital, etc., and they're telling me I need to pay. Do I actually have to pay them? So here's the good short answer. The answer is no, not unless we tell you to or a lawyer tells you to. So let me explain why that is. Families are not personally liable for the debts of their loved ones. Now, I'm not talking about spouses, that's a different situation. But if you have a parent die where they had a debt in their own name, if you have a brother or sister pass away, a grandparent, etc., you are not personally liable for their debts. Now, there are some things that we may have to pay. So if they have a mortgage on their house, for instance, and we have to take that through the probate process, or they've actually done planning and we want to sell that, yes, the mortgage will need to be paid off in all likelihood from the proceeds of that sale. But just normally, if there's a death and all of a sudden you're getting calls that from a creditor asking or telling you that you should pay, you do not have to do that. And here's why. So the place for creditors to get reimbursed is through the probate process. Now, many times we have to open probates because people didn't plan. And how we end up in probate, as we've done other videos on, is if I have a piece of property or I have an asset, a bank account, life insurance, retirement, something like that, where I don't say where it's supposed to go, it has to go through the probate court for the court to determine who it goes to. Now, the big number one thing that probate court is actually for is for creditors to come in and tell the court, hey court, we're petitioning because we are owed money, and before you pay the family, we as the creditor need to be paid for what is owed. Now, not all creditors go to probate court. Credit card companies, things like that, sometimes file claims, but then they don't follow up on it. So if there is a legitimate claim, and if it is proven up in probate court, then the family doesn't pay the creditor. The creditor is paid from the assets of the estate. So let me give you a for instance. Let's say that you have a parent who passes away. And let's say they have a $20,000 bank account, a $500,000 life insurance policy, and a $200,000 house that has to go through probate. So we've got these assets that need to go through probate. So let's say the house is sold and there's no mortgage on it. Let's say that the life insurance and the bank account are all collected. So the court now says who those go to, but let's pretend that there is a creditor. Let's say there's a hospital bill and maybe a credit card that is $50,000 worth of debt, and they come into court, they prove up their claim. That creditor would be paid by the personal representative before the rest of the money is then distributed to the heirs, all right? So to the family of whoever that's going to be. So that is the way that a creditor gets paid. As I said, if there's a mortgage on the property, if the personal representative or executor sells the property through the probate process, then part of that money that's coming into the probate to eventually go to the family would pay off that mortgage first. So if it's a $200,000 house with $50,000 left on the mortgage and you sell the $200,000 house, the $50,000 will pay off the mortgage, and then the rest of the $150,000, for instance, would go into the probate court to be distributed to the family. So That is how creditors are paid after a death. We always tell people, do not give in or pay a creditor if they are calling, sending letters, etc. You are not personally liable. When we do probates with clients, we tell them this is what needs to be paid, this is what should be proven up in court, etc. And then that's how those are dealt with. So hopefully that was helpful. It can be kind of tricky. Creditors especially like to do this after a death. They want to be paid. Sometimes they'll harass the beneficiaries, and it's a really difficult time for family, and this just adds to it. So I would encourage you that if you have a loved one pass away, reach out to an attorney, whether that's going through probate or whether they have a trust that needs to be administered and settled. Do that with an estate planner who can help you. If you would like to talk to us more about these situations, or if you ever come into a problem where you've got a loved one with probate, or if you want to plan ahead to make sure there's no probate, give us a call, 636-757-3850. Visit our website at polarisplans.com. Hopefully that was helpful, and again, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Talk to you soon.